welcome back to another episode of Couch Fridays with Perk and Grind. It's with me, your perky one, Summer, and Mr. Grind himself,
Anderson.
Yay! And today we're talking about and doing our final review of Ghost of Tsushima. Yay! Applause, applause.
Indeed.
Yes. So, before we get into the nitty gritty of it, let's take a step back to what we initially thought this game was going to be. And for me, I thought it was going to be very Sekiro, Dishonor like difficulty.
I saw a lot of Assassin's Creed influences.
Yeah.
Going into it, possibly that could be there.
It's weird. You keep saying I didn't see it until we were deep in the game, but I have to say I was 100% wrong. And my initial assumptions of this game. What do you think?
I have to say I'm 50-50.
What?
Here's how I'll say. There were some aspects I thought I'd see in this that weren't in it, that made this game unique. There were other aspects I didn't think would be in it that came in that made it seem like, more like Assassin's Creed. Certain parts of the horseback riding or certain innocuous parts where you're traveling and just, But for the most part, I'll go 60-40, not 50-50. I'll say I was wrong for the most part.
Okay.
It's a singular experience. It's a game all to itself. It's a unique game.
Very much so. Before we continue, my friend, spoiler alert, the game's been out for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But, a lot of us are busy. We got lots of stuff to do. So if you haven't played it yet, spoiler alert, we may drop some heavy spoilers. So we love you.
Kick rocks.
Bye-bye. Cool.
We're good.
Moving on. So what is Ghost of Tsushima? After we've put in quite a bit of time in this game. It's not a short game. But I think Ghost of Tsushima for me is a little bit different than it is for you since you played it and I just watched, right? So what is Ghost of Tsushima to you as the player?
Fighting for your homeland is the biggest, I think, is the overall objective. I don't think it's the overall theme. But the game for me was made in the characters. That's what kept me wanting to play the game. Also, another thing would be the voice acting, as we've mentioned before.
Agreed.
It is just phenomenal. We also, the voice acting isn't it doesn't really get the job done on its own without the music.
Oh yeah, the music is amazing.
And I know when pros versus cons, we definitely listed the sound in this game as a con, but the music is amazing. It really is. A lot of the different aspects of the music, from the parts where you sit down, take a break, and play your flute, the part where you can just whip your flute out, or you can get additional songs for it, but also in the soundtrack itself during the dialogue scenes, or really just while you're riding your horse through a field. The music was a big part of this. Going along with that would be the graphics as well.
I agree. From an observer standpoint, the cast absolutely amazing. But the characters made this game for me. They were meaty. They were juicy. I felt for them. Whether I liked them or not, I still had feelings for them.
Driving force in the game.
Yes, agreed. And the voice acting kept me enthralled in the game. It helped me escape and experience it a little bit more as a viewer. Even though I'm not controlling the characters, I'm still in that story. I'm drawn in by the voice acting, by the story, of course, and the stunning graphics. It's just a beautiful game to look at, to listen to, and just overall enjoy. And the music, I love that you brought up the music because you hear it almost throughout the entire time you're playing, whether it is you're riding through the fields, but in the battle music is great. So I'm sitting up next to you and I'm hyped and I'm ready for you to get through a standoff or an assassination or just, randomly hack and slash through some Mongols. I'm loving it. So yes, Ghost of Tsushima is all of that wrapped into one very hefty, long game. And that helps it stand apart from other games like it.
Yeah.
I think that may have some of those aspects, but not all.
Yeah, like if you can't punish a game for having side missions. Most open world games, or I'll do this for you, but first you got to go do this.
And there's a lot of that.
There's and there is. It's not so bad the further in you get. There's a lot. It's very heavy in the beginning, especially you have to go do a task for one person, and in going and doing that, often it spans a few more tasks, and then just for you to wrap it up, and you're just like, what was I even doing this for?
It's like, what is it, an arteries?
Yeah, it just arcs out, and it just gets, you're like, okay, I hope this all wraps up, and usually it did. Mm-hmm. So it's, that's something that, going back really quickly, it's very Assassin's Creed-like, I guess, but that's a very open world-like aspect of pretty much any game that has open world in it. So
I also think they use that aspect, I think, a little bit better. It helps you build your character. It's not just side quests for the sake of side quests, or side quests for the sake of platinuming the game.
They didn't punish me with side quests.
Yes, they wanted you to use this time to grow your character, to get those skill points, or as we say, those skill puntos, and develop so that you can take on, the Khan and the Mongols easier.
Yeah.
They want to better your journey, not make it more grueling.
Yeah, they set it up. They set up the game nicely with what they ask of you, with the difficulty of the bosses, or of just the enemies in general, and some of the boss fights. But it's not a punishing game. It's not punishingly difficult by any means, and there's an aspect to it, I think, definitely more for you if you were to play, and I know you are playing.
I am.
Where it's not as with Sekiro, you really, like we've said before, she started this game, and I have no idea why, because exactly what happened was what I thought would happen. 20 minutes into it, she stopped playing.
I did.
Because you got into it, and you're like, this isn't for, not only this isn't for me, but this isn't for what my level of playing it.
I felt that I was being punished for being a noob.
Yeah.
Or just being a novice to the game. I felt like, hey, this game is not for you. You need to stay in your lane, noob. And I was like, well, you know what? I don't want it.
And I know you said watching, some of the trailers of Ghost of Tsushima beforehand, you kind of had those thoughts going into it, that like, this is going to be too. And we even talked about that going into this before we started on here, where you did not think it would be a game that you picked up. Surprisingly, I came home, a couple weeks back, and she's been playing it on her own account.
I have been playing it. I've been enjoying it. I've been playing it using the Japanese voices, which is amazing, by the way. The different filters are cool. The black and white one is amazing. But no, I picked up the sticks because I saw that you were enjoying it so much. I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. It didn't. The bosses, the enemies, none of them seemed like they were out to punish me as a player for not being that good with the controls. And I got into it, and I started to really enjoy it and to learn it. It's like, I saw you, Boo Thing, take one path of playing the game. I was like, what if I take this way and do more side missions, or talk to more people and interact more with the characters? Will my character grow a bit faster than yours, or will it be on the same pace? I don't know, but I'm willing to find out, So I just love that.
More than with Sekiro.
Yeah, Sekiro, in and out, didn't enjoy it. So yes, this game is not punishing. It's welcoming.
Yeah.
Welcome, newcomer. Let me show you how this works, and I love that about it.
Yeah, it welcomes noobs, but it also has its parts that are like other games.
You up that difficulty, and you will have your Sekiro, Dead Souls.
Yeah, you really will.
Dark Souls experience.
You'll see with some of my Ryozo duels
where you just die and die some more.
And the game kept telling me, dude, make it easier for you, and I refused.
On an easier setting.
But I beat him eventually. So it's and there's boss fights just like with any game, but the game's not overly repetitive. We said before, yes, there's strongholds and enemy encampments and duel after duel, or random enemies on the road, but it's always rewarding. You're always getting better. You're always honing, and you can always find something about your game to improve. If you don't believe me, watch my standoffs. I promise they're getting harder. I'm not just getting dumber as I play, but you gotta stay sharp on it. It's not easy. It's really not. It
develops.
I'm at like 50% at this point. Like, it's getting bad. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to make it a 60-40 definitive for you by the time we quit the game, or by the time we finish the game. But you
were terrible.
Yeah, it gives you, it's repetitive, and then it gives you chances, but you can take them differently. You can take them by you can take them by force, you can take them by stealth, you can take them by standoff, you can have an honor or a ghostness about you, which beats back the repetition of some of the things that they ask you to do. So overall, it's not and while you're constantly learning new moves to go at these more repetitive parts, it's not repetitive because you experience it in a different way. It's often easier when you get that moon stance. People are half as difficult. I swear, their moves are more powerful.
But so are yours.
No, I'm saying, yeah, the moves of the moon stance are more powerful. The kicks, everything, it's more not repetitive, but it just constantly, it's battering. It's a lot more it's a lot more effective.
It's more fun to watch. Like, if you state that same find village stance. Well, the same stance, and then you go village, Mongols, kill, save, village, and just rinse, wash, repeat, it would have just gotten just unbearably boring. But because they have how many stances? Four. Not including ghost stance. Yeah. So you have all of these stances, and each stance has its own branch of moves and skills you can learn.
And upgrades.
Then you have your weaponry. Then you have those upgrades. Then you, when you grow your legend, you get those new weapons. Yeah. And there's so much to learn. And when you learn them, you want to test it out.
Yeah, it makes you excited for those more repetitive parts. You're like,
I'll go. Mongols.
Let me go take on my 15th encampment, because I'm like, the other 15 times, this time I got a new stance. This time I got a new move. I got the heavenly stroke, and it's just one time and done.
Stuff.
So the more repetitive parts are mitigated by the ever evolving parts of the game.
Yes.
So which I liked, and that, like I said, it helped me see it as less repetitive on the whole, as a whole game, as a whole experience. But yeah, it was overall, going into it, did I think it'd be like that? I thought it'd get draining. I thought it'd get tiring. I thought I'd get boring. Yeah, and I didn't. So there's that aspect in comparison to Sekiro or Assassin's Creed. There's also when we're talking about the repetitive parts, you have a story that's compelling and unique, that drives you past anything you could see as
a roadblock,
as monotonous or repetitive. The story is a driving factor, and it keeps you motivated, keeps you incentivized. Yep. So I found that the story to be more compelling than certain other games. Assassin's Creed, great stories historically, but they're spread out. They're distended. There's so few and far between the good scenes versus the fluff. Whereas with this, you're constantly driven forward. You feel it's cohesive. You never lose sight of your goal. You never lose sight of your spark to why you're doing these things, why you're playing. Yep. And that's a little bit more unique. That's a little bit more faster in pace in comparison to Sekiro, in my opinion, or Assassin's Creed. Some entries in the Assassin's Creed games.
Yes, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Assassin's Creed games. But I agree with you with that. The story is more, what's the word? Cohesive. Mm-hmm. Yes, it keeps you going. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good game. However, for those of us who we work a lot, we don't have a lot of time to carve out, hours and hours and hours to spend playing video games. This game is going to take a long time to play. Yeah. If you are going to really play it. So for those of us who try to play games before the next big release comes out, you might have waited a bit too long.
Yeah, you might have
to overlap.
Call out of work and hammer it out or something to even it out before the next big release. We're sure you want to jump on it as badly as we do. So trust me, it's been difficult on this side too. Carving out in the schedule and time. So, but
it takes time, but it's time worth spending with this game if you like it. But just know that if you are going to try to platinum this game, it's going to take time. You got to become best friends with those golden birds.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to become just as annoying as I was to him whenever they came on screen. Yeah. You're going to become best friends with the foxes and discovering the shrines, finding the musicians, the keys, the banners, I'm missing some more stuff. There's some more stuff, you guys. The onsens, favorite place to write a haiku. There's a lot to do. All the side missions come together to propel you forward in the main quest. But to do those side missions, that's not an easy task because, you're on 1 of 9 for Masako.
For everyone.
Everyone.
So you gotta play it. If you, it will take a long time to beat this game. I don't think it takes a long time playing this game to get your money's worth. Agreed. Yeah, I think I think if you can't beat it, take heart, because if you can't beat it immediately for your next big game and you got to enter it in the backlog, hey, it's a kick-ass game to have in your collection. Mm-hmm. So, if you can't make the time now, that's cool. Time will be made. As long as you make enough time to start the game, I promise.
You're going to want to finish it.
You're going to want to finish it, and you're also going to have already had your money's worth. It's definitely worth it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts.
Yeah. Best thing about the game... well, I gotta go back, like we just said, the ever-evolving nature of the gameplay propels you through the parts of the game that kind of stay repetitive and don't necessarily evolve. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna be one of my parts. Another, I guess, best aspect of the game, the voice acting.
Okay.
Voice acting.
Kudos to you guys. Yeah. Well done.
The worst has to be, I gotta say, for me, probably gonna be a little bit of the aspects of gameplay as far as the pad, nearly getting me killed, bowing and playing my flute and really stupid times. That's gonna be probably one of my big ones, honestly.
Okay. Well, okay. My turn. For me, the best part of this game would be the story. Mm-hmm. I'm not playing the game, so I'm not really engaged that way. But watching this game and being so involved in the story, it is ever changing. It is throwing you for loops. Mm-hmm. I am constantly saying, hey, we're about to take on, Castle Shimura. Are we about to beat the game? Oh my gosh, this is coming. Is this the climax?
You really don't know.
And then you're just like, no, it's not the climax. There's more.
There's like 2 different parts where we were like, this is legitimate.
Roll credits.
Yeah, the first time I was like, okay, short but sweet, but this could be the end. The second I was like, this should definitely be the end, and we're still playing.
Still playing. And then you have the characters. You have Shimura's development. You have Jin's development. Masako's development. All these people all make such an amazing entertaining date night watching him play a video game. So I love that. And I think for me, the worst part would be, and it is, sound effects, and it has to be like with the storms. They kind of sound like, those flat sheets that you just go wagga, 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 wagga.
Washboards, metal washboards.
Yeah. It drives me
Take a fork and drink.
All you're missing is the flickering of the lights.
It just feels like every storm you ride through the soundtrack of a bluegrass band. It really...
And there are
an experimental bluegrass band.
A lot of storms.
Yeah,
so many storms.
Really are.
So that pulls me out of the story just a little bit, because that thunder cracks so often, and it's basically cracking a baking sheet.
Yeah, and sometimes drowns out the dialogue.
Yeah, so that to me could have been improved, but there's so many aspects that kind of overrun it. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay. So thoughts. What should we suggest? Would you suggest this game to actually purchase?
Definitely. It's a great game out there among video games. It's definitely it's definitely a stalwart addition. Last addition to the PlayStation 4's library.
Agreed.
You know, I think we're in that last window of, you know, get your hits while you can, get your kicks while you can, and I think we're about to see some truly great games on the frontier for the last of this console generation. I think this is definitely one of them.
I 100% agree, and I say this coming from someone who doesn't play. We already own one copy, and he plays it, you know, a lot. And he's going to go back and, you know, find other things to do with this game. I'm going to need a copy of my own, and I don't buy double copies of games unless it's a and you know, network co-op.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't need to buy 2 copies of a game. But I'm gonna buy my own personal copy so that I can enjoy playing it back by myself without interference or whatnot.
Because when I come home and she's playing, she knows I want to play, so she can just get up
and go
and leave,
or he can just get up and go. Either way, I think it's worth buying, especially if you are trying to get into games and you love the aesthetic. I say go for it.
All right, so lastly, number score.
Oh no, I went first last time. Your turn.
Okay, for me, 8.5.
Okay, dang it, I agree. I'm at an 8.5 as well.
All right,
8.5 for a Ghost of Tsushima.
Solid, solid B plus, B plus plus.
B plus plus, A minus.
Yeah, so definitely go get it. Check it out.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, if you need any tips or pointers, feel free to come back to us here. Maybe you'll pick something up that makes it a little easier for you. Beware of Ryozo. That dude, his kicks and his poke moves.
It's
his
free
poke moves.
Free pokes, yo. Poke.
No, it's more, but there's some the blockable ones. There's more. You'll see. Anyway, but hopefully you get to enjoy it just as much as we did.
If not, dishonor on you.
Indeed, Harry Carey style. So. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks.
As always, we appreciate it. Hopefully you can come back next time for more.
Yeah.
Leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you get an update to come back next week.
Yeah. And if you ever just want to watch us play, check out our Couch Chronicles.
Yep. Minute by minute, you get to watch all the hilarious hijinks and all the angry, rage-driven frustrations. So, yeah, it's always fun to watch. So
awesome. Thanks, you guys, for joining us this week.
Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. And until then, stay perky.
Keep on grinding.
Take
Bye.
care.